Hey guys, it's Kevin again. This review for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 2, Episode 12, Who You Really Are. And that was the perfect title for this episode, because this episode did focus, of course, on Daisy's storyline. I have to say, I really enjoyed this episode. I thought it was a great episode. Definitely last week's episode was definitely better, but I still really enjoyed this episode. There were some really big things in this episode. One plot that I'm kind of iffy about. I don't know if I exactly like the way they're going with it, but I overall really enjoyed this episode. Some things were kind of filler, but it really is all about Daisy, I have to say. This show's now, it's not about the agents itself. Well, it's about the agents. It's about primarily Daisy. I mean, everything in this episode was mainly focusing on Daisy. There was other stuff happening, but mainly our main focus right now is Daisy. So, I definitely really enjoyed that. Let's just get in this episode because, as usual, it was great. So in Faro, Portugal, several students are partying on the beach when a woman, Lady Sif, who apparently was on Season 1 of this show, I didn't see Season 1, so I can't say too much about her character. All I have to say is that she definitely is a really good character, and I like seeing her, because I didn't see the first season and everything, so it was great to see her. Sif goes on, and one of the students, XXX, offers to help her, and she wants to find Kava, and, he offers to help her with anything she needs, and the Asgardian sends him flying a few dozen yards down the beach and then walks off. When they wonder who she is, Sif says that she doesn't know, and that, I thought, was a very interesting plot point. It was a great way to start the episode, and I was just like, okay, that's really interesting. So at the base, Melinda and Daisy are sparring, and Daisy takes Melinda down, and Melinda tells her to stop holding back, and Daisy says she doesn't want to try and hurt her. Which, of course, you can understand why she's saying that, because of the whole thing with Trip. She's very worried that she's going to end up hurting somebody else, and I kind of like that, actually, that she's so worried. I mean, think about how Daisy was last week. She thought that Trip's death was her fault. She still kind of is in that position where she's very iffy about continuing her job. I mean, she's very iffy about a lot of things, and plus there's so much processing through Daisy's mind right now. I mean, she's hiding things, she is still trying to get over Trip's death, and it's just a lot for her. There's so much going on with her right now, and it's just too much for her. I think that really is what it comes down to. That's way too much for Daisy. There's too much stress for her, and I really do feel bad for Daisy. But it's also why Daisy is the best character on the show, I have to say. So Melinda tells her to embrace her emotions on her terms, and when Daisy worries that she'll tear her head off, Melinda invites her to try. So Fitz comes in and suggests that Daisy needs a break, which I think, yeah, she does, and Melinda tells him to come back in an hour. Daisy says that she's fine, and Fitz leaves, and once he's gone, Melinda attacks Daisy and tells her not to hold back. So after sex, Lance and Bobbi talk about how Coulson offered Lance a permanent position there, which I'm very happy about, because if you guys know, I'm one of the few people that actually really do like Lance's character. I know a lot of people think his character's stupid and that he's just there to be comic relief. I understand that, but I actually really love about his character. He consistently makes me laugh. I think he actually is a very funny character. I really like what they're doing with his character, and overall, I really like his character, I have to say. So I'm not going to be upset that he is the main character on the show as well, so I'm very happy about that. Also, I forgot to say, the woman that plays Bobbi is also got upgraded to be a main character, so that's really good. So Lance points out that it was always her dedication to S.H.I.E.L.D. that got in the way of their relationship, and now they're on the same team. And I'm happy that he said that to her, so she's happy for him, and I really do like that he is now going to be in S.H.I.E.L.D. So Coulson and Mack are checking inventory, and Mack apologized for snapping at him earlier, because, he got all upset at Coulson for what happened, and his superior surprised him by saying that he wants him out in the field, and Mack warns that violence isn't his thing, but Coulson doesn't believe it, and Melinda comes in and tells them that, so basically I think the reason Coulson's so worried is because of the whole possession thing, and just because Mack tends to get very angry, but as I said, last week's episode was about how different people deal with grief, and this week's episode wasn't so much about grief, more than, just getting over grief. I think that definitely was the theme of this episode, it was all about getting over grief. While last week's episode, I'd say, was about grief, this one was about getting over grief, which I really do like that idea. I think it's a very cool idea, and I really do like that overall. This episode was basically just about dealing with grief, and I really do like that idea. I think it's a very interesting thing that they're doing on the show, and it's probably the thing I'm most enjoying, I have to say, is just seeing them deal with grief. I really do enjoy seeing it. I think they're handling it very well, and I definitely really do enjoy it. Especially because Trip wasn't a huge character. He was a main character, he just didn't have a lot to do, and they're still making his death, very, very sad. I love that they're doing that, because I didn't think they'd really make his death that sad. You know, I didn't think we would really care, but just the fact that he wasn't a huge character and that we still care, I love that about the show. So Melinda comes in and tells him that there's a Blue Dot operative in Portugal phoned into a report, and in Faro, Coulson and Melinda talk to Officer Cavarlo at the police station, and he explains that Sif agreed to wait once he said that he found Kava, and they meet with Sif, and I have to say, Sif's character, I really want her to become a main character. She's a great character, and I'd love to see more of her. They show her a picture of her working with them in the past, and Sif says that she knows she's Asgard, because, you know, she does work with Thor, but she doesn't remember her name or why she left there or why she's wearing normal clothing. So I really like this plot. I thought that was really interesting, and I thought that whole arc I just really liked. So Daisy finds a Twitter video of Sif fighting a man on a nearby pier, and Coulson explains that Sif came to find a rogue Asgardian, and they assume the man in the ocean is the one she was after. So in the video, the man stabs Sif and then throws her into the ocean, and Coulson wonders what the man is after. So the man goes to the hospital and orders the clerk to provide him with fuel. When she hesitates, the man grabs her, says that someone on her world has changed and he's there to find them. When the clerk wonders what he wants, the man tells her that she won't remember as his skin turns blue, and when that happened, I'm like, obelisk. Obelisk right there. That's what that is, and because, I mean, that's what happened to, that's what happens to people who have the obelisk, because that's very powerful and everything, and I thought that was very interesting that we saw that. So back on the bus, Jemma brings up some videos of the fight that they found, and one shot shows Sif hitting the man when he's wearing something mechanical, and the video also shows that he drew blue-covered blood, and Coulson sends Fitz with Lance and Mack to handle forensic, while Daisy and Bobbi canvass witnesses. So that's basically their overall mission in this episode. And I really liked what their overall mission was. I definitely really enjoyed that. So Jemma advises that Coulson contains the man first and asks questions later, and says they have new icers in development. And basically they've increased the drug dose to deal with the elevated threats that they're facing. And on the pier, Sif goes to basically, wait, where was I? Okay, so on the pier, Sif goes to the team, but she doesn't remember anything new, and Coulson figures out that she was undercover, and Sif smiles when they ask her if she remembers Thor, and I like seeing that because, you know, she did work with Thor and everything. So as they search for blood, Mack asks if Lance is staying, and the mercenary says that he likes Coulson and wants to see how things play out. He then spots a dent in the lamppost and touches it. The post falls over, and Fitz uploads a sample to Jemma, and you can definitely see that they are trying to set up some sort of a love triangle here between Fitz, Mack, and Bobbi. I'll talk about that. I mean, not Fitz, but Mack, Lance, and I'll get to that. But it's really interesting. So Bobbi and Daisy go to the hospital, and Daisy wonders how good she is at lying and telling if someone lies. And I like that she asked that, because I mean, we know that she knows that she's lying. She knows that she's not doing something right. She knows, that this could end up, she could end up in deep shit for this. She really does know that it's not going to end up well for her. And I like that Daisy knows that she is doing something wrong. I like that overall, and I like that, the arc we're getting with her. I definitely really like, because, I mean, you can see how much she regrets not telling people the truth, and she really wants to tell them what's really going on, but she can't tell them. I mean, she knows she can't, but she wants to. And she hasn't seen the man, and explains that the nurse who was working there earlier took ill, and they overhear the first nurse saying that she can't remember her name, and realizes that she's actually connected to Sif's amnesia. So that, I thought, was very interesting when we found that out, that she was connected to Sif's amnesia. So on the beach, Melinda explains to Sif that she works for Odin, and Coulson speaks with a balloon vendor, Mr. Cardozo, and he recognizes Sif, and Cardozo explains that the man destroyed his booth and took his helium tanks, and Jemma calls in to say that the blood is actually liquid nitrogen, and the post was frozen solid and then shattered, and they realize that the man was carrying nitrogen, now he's trying to renew what he lost. So Bobbi calls Coulson to say that the man is in the hospital, and he tells her to check the nitrogen supplies. The man is refilling his personal tanks from the hospital's nitrogen, and when Bobbi and Daisy find him, he attracts a line to his chest, and his skin goes from blue to pink in like seconds, and he then attacks Bobbi and throws her aside, and Daisy draws her gun. This whole scene was very intense. The gun shaking, and then falls apart in her hand, and the room is shaking, and basically the room is shaking around her. A shelf falls on her, and the man leaps over the shelf and runs out. And back on the bus, Jemma tends to Bobbi, and Daisy tells Sif and Coulson what she thought, and wonders if the man is a Cree. Because, she thinks that he could probably be a Cree, and that's what they think is going on there, that he is a Cree. Which, I can totally understand why they think he's a Cree. I can understand that. I don't know too much about Cree, but Sif confirms that Kava means keys in the Cree language, and as Coulson starts checking, Sif thanks Daisy for engaging her enemy, and Daisy then tells Fitz what happened in private. She wants to tell Coulson what happened, but Fitz wants her to wait until he finishes analyzing her blood sample, and Lance comes in to get the new weapons, and Daisy and Fitz leave quickly. So, Jemma assures Bobbi that she'll recover, and once Mack is alone with Bobbi, this was very interesting. He asks if she talked to Lance, and Bobbi assures Mack that things are good with Lance and suggests they bring him on board, and Mack says it's far too late and points out that Bobbi didn't tell Lance because she didn't want him to know that she lied to him. He figures that Lance will react badly and says that he doesn't want him there in case he takes the other side, and Bobbi doesn't believe it, but Mack figures that Lance is still capable of killing her even if he loves her, and to me, it just seems like Mack is just trying to get Bobbi on his side to make himself like a better person than Lance, because there's definitely setting up a love triangle here between Bobbi, Lance, and Mack. Now, do I like it? I don't know. I think this show is a lot more capable of doing something other than a love triangle. But if they want to do this, I think they could do it right. They just need to not just make it just a love triangle. Have it to be something more than that, and I'll be fine with that. So he wants Lance to be far away when they pull the trigger on what they're doing, and he really wants nothing to do with Lance because, of course, he's in love with Bobbi. You can tell he's in love with Bobbi, and that's what's going on there. So Sky comes in as Melinda finds a reference in the city of Chaves, and Chaves is English for keys, and Sif figures that her target was heading there, and Coulson remembers that Chaves was the site of Whitehall's dig in 1945, where he first found the obelisk. So as they go, Daisy asks to sit the mission out, which I can understand why she did that, because she should. She needs to tell, the grief is, what she did is getting to her, and she's really upset about what happened. She told Fitz everything. She told Fitz the truth, and I never thought Fitz would be the person she told. I thought Melinda would be, or maybe Coulson, but I never thought that Fitz would be the first person to find out. It does make sense, though, because, Fitz is as changed as Daisy is, so I can definitely see why Fitz is, she told Fitz, because they are very similar in many ways, so she assures Coulson that she just shook up after the fight, but Melinda's not convinced. She can tell there's something else going on because, come on, these people aren't stupid. They're not stupid. They know what they're doing, and I like seeing that. I like the seeing that Melinda wasn't sure what she should do here, and Sky comes in as Melinda finds a reference to the city of Chaves, and I just read this. So at the dig site, the Cree recovers a crate, and he drags outside and prepares to open it. Just as Coulson and the others arrive, when the Cree says that they won't stop him, Lance shoots him with an electrified net, and the team takes the Cree to the interrogation cell on the bus and take off. The Cree Vintok tells Coulson and Sif that he's there to help, and she attacked him, and Vintok took her memory to keep her from tracking him, and asked them to bring him her trunchkin so he can restore Sif's memories and prove his good intentions, and Coulson refuses. He doesn't think that this man is telling the truth at all, and he wants to know more. And Vintok promises to earn their trust, and Bobbi is in the lab examining Vintok's trunchkin when Lance comes in. She hasn't been able to detect any signals from the device, and Lance tries to flirt with her. He offers to help, but Bobbi says that he can't do anything and tells Lance to give her some space, and it seems like the thing with Mack is working. She actually believes Mack. She thinks that he's hiding something, and she suggests they should slow things down, and Lance figures that she's ready to get rid of him now that Bobbi has had her fun, and as he walks out, he brushes past Mack, who realizes that he's upset and why. To me, it just seemed like they had a sexual relationship. I didn't really feel like Bobbi and Lance had an actual relationship. To me, it just seemed like they just had a sexual relationship, so I can understand why Bobbi really wants something to do with him. So the bus returns to base, and Bobbi suggests that the only Vintak may be able to operate the trunchkin. Coulson has Fitzsimmons examine the cave and see what they can learn. They then question Vintak further, and he says that it only works in his hand. He kicks it out of Coulson's hand, grabs it, uses it on Sif, and Vintok then surrenders, and Sif says that her memories have returned and punches Vintok. She explains that Odin sent her to capture the Kree and take him to Asgard, and Vintok says that the ancient Kree descended on planets and altered the inhabitants to fight in their wars, and Earth was one such planet. So Fitzsimmons examines the crate, and I was good to see that Sif did get her memories back. Now, I thought there was going to be like an arc thing. I thought this was going to be a couple episodes where she got her memory back. I kind of would have wanted it to be, because I really do like Sif's character, and I honestly do want her to become a main character in the show. Season 3, Sif's in the show, I'm all for it. I'm all for it, and I think she should be in the show because she's a great character, and she really is she's awesome in the show. She really is doing a great job. So Fitzsimmons opens a crate, discovers that it's empty. Jemma calls Coulson, suggests that Hydra may have them, which I think that could make sense. She notices Fitz's table with the diagnostic results and discovers that it shows macromolecules like the ones in Raina's blood, and Fitz claims it's a simulation and quickly takes the tablet down. We didn't see a lot of development between Raina and, what is her dad's name? I can't think of her dad's name right now. Daisy's father. We didn't really see too much with that in this episode, but I think that's just because this episode focused more on Sif, which I was fine with. It was just kind of filler. So Vintok says they have to find the diviners and anyone who may have been transformed, and Coulson and Melinda explain that Raina disappeared after her transformation, and Sif asks what Raina saw, and Vintok warns that the changes may be buried inside, and the abominations are weapons, even if they don't know it, and the base starts to shake, and Melinda realizes that Daisy is responsible for this, and she knows that Daisy was hiding something, and Coulson asks her what she's doing it. She admits that she is, and Sif tries to grab her, and Daisy yanks away as the vibration shatters the windows. And again, I think this is just Daisy's emotions. Sif says that she will take Daisy to Asgard, but Coulson refuses. Vintok says that the weapons has to be eliminated. Sif warns that Daisy's powers could continue to grow, because, she has more powers, and Daisy says that she can get a handle on it. But just as Fitz arrives, Melinda gets Daisy out, and Coulson draws his gun while telling Fitz that they need Bambino, and in the hallway, Melinda and Daisy run past Jemma, and Daisy apologized to her because, she knows that she's hiding something. She knows she did wrong, and she throws him aside, and basically Fitz runs after them, and Jemma realizes that he knew, and Jemma feels really upset because, Fitz was the person that knew, and she didn't tell him, and he didn't tell her, and he looks guilty, and he keeps running, and he runs into Mack and Bobbi and tells them what is happening, and I like that everyone pretty much knows what's going on with Daisy now. I don't think they realize that she's an Inhuman, though. So Coulson reminds Sif that they're friends, and Vintok grabs Coulson, throws him aside. The Kree then goes after Daisy. It says Sky, but I'm Daisy. Finds Mack and Bobbi. Vintok says that Daisy is an atrocity and he must end her, and Mack punches him. Lance arrives at Vintok, knocks Matt back, and Vintok knocks Lance out as well. Bobbi draws her batons and parries Vintok's first attack. Melinda takes Daisy to the cells, locks them both in, tells Daisy to focus. Daisy says she can't control it, just as Sif tries to cut through the force field, and Vintok pins Bobbi to the wall, wonders why she fought him, but when she knew she couldn't win, and Bobbi says she was the distraction. And just as Fitz arrives when Bambino shoots the Kree, she then hits him with his own trenchkin, stunning him, and Sif cuts through the force field. Daisy grabs Melinda's gun, shoots herself in the arm, and Coulson arrives and tells a surprise Sif that Daisy was willing to sacrifice herself to save the people she loves, and if Sif takes her away from the people she loves, she will only get worse. So it's true. Daisy is full of emotion right now, and she's only going to get worse. So the team drives Sif and Vintok to the woods. She warns Coulson that his decision contains real danger. He assures her that he'll help Daisy through it, and Vintok does remember anything and thanks them for their kindness. Sif says she'll return the Kree to his home planet, and Coulson assures Sif that they'll take every precaution to prevent anyone from activating the Diviners, and Sif warns that her people have learned that some things can't be understood and some things can't be fought. She then has Heimdall open the Bifrost Bridge and departs with Vintok. I couldn't say that. Departs with Vintok. So Coulson realizes that Melinda agrees with Sif, and she says that Coulson was brought back to life with a map encoded in his DNA. She reminds me of what Lumley said, where sky goes, death follows. And that's a really interesting thing there, what they're trying to say. And I think that's what they're trying to say is that, where Daisy went, Trip followed her and he died. So I don't know if that's like a curse or something, but I find that very interesting. So as the team cleans up the base, Fitz tries to apologize to Jemma. Jemma insists that Daisy is different because she's her friend, and Fitz points out that Jemma didn't handle his change, and Mack says that Daisy should have come clean, and Bobbi agrees, and Fitz insists that they have to protect Daisy, because, Coulson and Melinda, they don't know the truth, and Mack says that they're the ones who need protection, and just as Daisy comes to the door and hears them, Fitz goes after her, but Skye ignores him and goes to the containment cell where she's prepared a bed, and we don't know what's going to happen with her. I personally feel that Daisy is going to leave S.H.I.E.L.D. and go with her father and Raina. I really feel like that's what's going to happen here. I feel like that's what they're setting up, and I actually really do like that because Daisy should be with her own kind. I mean, she should try to have a relation with her father, and I definitely feel like they are going to start their own organization. Because, I mean, they were already trying to recruit Daisy last episode, so I definitely feel like that's going to happen again in the next episode. I definitely feel like that's going to be a possibility, and I hope that does happen, because I really do want to see that happen, and if that does happen, I think it could be very interesting if that is what ends up happening here. And I'm looking forward to that. I mean, Cal, that's his name, Cal. I think she's going to start her own organization with Cal and Raina. So, then, the end of the episode, Lance confronts Mack, demands to know what's up between him and Bobbi. He threatens to tell Coulson about the flash drive that he found. Mack grabs him, and he asks, who backup is, chokes him unconscious, and that's how the episode ends. So, clearly, there's a love triangle forming between them. Not too much to say about this episode, other than there are some big things coming, definitely. Half the team knows about Daisy's true identity. They still don't know her real name is Daisy. They don't know all the details yet, but they do know enough that they don't want to tell Coulson. But as I said, I kind of feel like she's just going to leave Coulson. I really do. I think that's what that's setting up here. Sif, I really do want to see Sif again. I think she's a very cool character. I like what they're doing with her character, and I'd be interested in seeing maybe another arc with her character. I think she's an interesting character overall. I want to see what else they have in store with her character, and I'm looking forward to what could end up happening there, because I definitely feel like they could definitely do more there. As far as Fitz and Jemma goes, I really do feel bad for them. I mean, their relationship is not going to be the best now, because Jemma, of course, doesn't really trust Fitz because he lied to her about Daisy, and she doesn't really trust him right now, which I can understand why she's upset about that. But then as far as Coulson and Melinda go, they of course don't really know what's going on with Daisy. I feel like everyone's going to be against Daisy by the end of the season. I definitely feel like that's a possibility. I don't think Daisy's going to turn into a bad person, though. I really don't think that's going to happen. I think Daisy's just so full of rage, doesn't really know what to do. The only thing I'm not so keen about in this episode is Mack and the Mack, Bobbi and Lance plot. I don't know if I like this love triangle, but we'll have to see where that goes. I hope they just make it less than a love triangle, and more as Bobbi doesn't really care about Lance and cares more about Mack. If that's what they do, that could be interesting, but if they just make it a love triangle, I'm not really going to like that. But overall, guys, great episode as usual. I always love Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Let me know what you guys saw this episode. I'll see you guys in my next video, which will be our review for tonight's episode of The Americans. So I'll see you guys for that. Okay, bye.